of No Nation is written, directed, and shot by Cary Fukanaga. It stars Idris Elba and Abraham Atta. It is based on the novel Beasts of No Nation, same name, written by Uzodinma Iwala. The story of Beasts of No Nation follows a young boy named Agu, whose family is trapped in between two different sections of Africa, where there's two different political affiliations, both at war with one another. His family actually has nothing to do with the war itself, but they're trapped in the middle. Sooner rather than later, conflict hits them, tragedy occurs, and Agu is forced to go on the run, where he soon meets the Commandant, played by Idris Elba, who is in charge of a rebellious factor that is trying to overthrow the government and create control. Not always in the best way possible. They are very violent, very rebellious, very chaotic in their nature. But Agu has no one else really to turn to, and he sees a strong figure, so he turns to Commandant and Elba for direction, guidance, and basically a way to survive. However, he soon finds out that everything he bargained for it comes with a lot of stakes, and there's a lot of sacrifices that have to be made on his end, on everyone's end, and it leads to the realization that, and the questioning of life. Is it what he thought it was going to be? Is this what life is? Is this what God wants from a religious perspective, since he is religious? It just creates a lot of interesting questions for Agu as he's grown up. This movie was released on Netflix. It initially premiered at the Venice Film Festival in September, and then it got a wide release on Netflix in October. Now, it did screen at a theater in Los Angeles back in October, so it does qualify for the Oscars. However, it was not nominated. It did get nominated for a few Golden Globes, but it was not recognized at the Oscars, which has created a lot of controversy as well, which I won't get into. But I was very intrigued by this movie, and I actually should have watched it months ago. I just never got around to it. There's a lot of parts of Beast of No Nation that really, really work well and actually harken to not only Fukunaga's style in directing things like True Detective, but also this has reeks of elements of Apocalypse Now as well. Questioning of humanity, the psychological changes that happen with people. This is a dark, dark film with dark subject matter. What makes this especially dark is that it involves children, not just Agu, but there's a number of different children involved in this movie who do a very good job, though we're going to focus on Abraham Atta and Idris Elba for the sake of this review, because they are the two focal characters by far. But again, this is very dark. This is a tough watch. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of questionable materials, like I said, involving younger kids. And that's something that might be a little disturbing to some people. So just know that going in. But with Fukunaga, this was basically a giant passion project. Like I said, he wrote, directed, and shot the film. So that means he was actually holding the camera and giving the direction as to where he wanted people to go, what he wanted them to do. So this is a big undertaking for him, and even for Netflix, to trust that much on one person. Because even for True Detective, he didn't write that show. He was just directing it. But he does a great job. This is a great looking film. Performances are fantastic. Idris Elba is great. He's intimidating. There is a sympathetic side to him. You don't feel bad for him, really, but there are moments where you do see him as more of a person than just the intimidating figure that you see when you first meet him and throughout. There are some moments of humanity, and Abraham Atta is just utterly fantastic. As Agu, he's emotional, he's fragile, he's tough, he encompasses such a wide range, and to play that as a child in such a violent adult grown-up movie with such mature subject matter is really, really fantastic. If anyone's getting snubbed for awards, it is him. No disrespect to Elba, he's great, but Atta steals the show in pretty much every scene he's in, even when Elba's on screen with him. One of the most interesting parts in following the story of Agu is really the central conflict that he has, which you hear via some voiceovers, of him questioning everything around him, not only the reality of the situation he's in, but the spirituality side of it, of knowing what he's involved in, what he's doing, what the group's doing as well, and really beginning to question that. There are notes of, like I said, spirituality that it touches upon, not in a preachy way, but just getting inside his head and really understand where he's at and how he feels about all this and how he's trying to come to terms with the reality that he's now set in. And it makes the story really compelling from his angle to just place yourself in his shoes and really just sink into the depths of what's going on in his mind. As mentioned, this is a very well shot film. There are a lot of really great wide angle shots showing the jungle, showing just the entire environment that they're in. And Fukunaga does a great job at this, and he does a great job capturing the tension and the isolation that you feel even amidst these widespread landscapes. He does a fantastic job capturing that and really immersing you in the environment and causing you to really feel that discomfort and, again, that tension that the performers and the characters are feeling themselves. However, this is still not a perfect film. There are some issues I had with this, and part of it deals with the fact that, similar to the issues that I had with 13 Hours, is that for a war movie, you need to make us care about your characters. Now, Agu, we do care about. We actually do. You spend some time with him beforehand, and you learn with him. And the journey really is his. However, you do meet a lot of characters along the way, especially he makes a friend that he calls Strika, and we never really feel that emotional bond between him and even Commandant, him and Elba. You understand the reasons why he's drawn to these people because he feels like he has nowhere else to turn, but it still felt a little emotionally detached for me. And you're really just watching this tornado of bad events just keep happening and bad decisions being made, and it just keeps spiraling out of control. And it works for the film, and it works the way it's shot. I just felt a little emotionally disconnected from it at points. Another thing that I also had a little bit of an issue with is, and the book is apparently supposed to leave this a little undisclosed, I didn't read it, but you don't really understand what the entire conflict is. I mean, it's easy to draw from the fact that there's two warring factions going up against one another, but you never really find out what it's about. I guess it's over land or control or money. You never really understand why there's any sort of conflict to begin with, and that's something that I was kind of curious about at the end, is just what was this all necessarily about? You can draw simple conclusions, but the movie never fleshes it out very well. The performances are great. The story works really well. It's extremely tense. It's very, very well performed, very well written, very well shot. I just couldn't help but feel a little bit detached from it, and I never felt like I really actually understood what the central conflict of the movie was. Even at the end, you're still left kind of wondering, what was that for? But they don't really connect all the dots for you, which is fine, but when you're caught in the crux of this, you should at least understand a little bit of what the problem is. I still really enjoyed this. This would have made probably at the bottom end of my top 10 movies of the year had I seen it in 2015. I didn't, so we're evaluating it now. But I would still give it a solid 8.5. This was a really good movie. There were some parts, like I said, that just felt a little bit disconnected, and I would have been like to be a little more immersed, more based on the story and even some parts of the character instead of just knowing the situation. The situation brings you in, but it's just having that extra little context would have made it that much more impactful as well. So still really love this. I highly recommend you check it out. We've got all sorts of other reviews coming up. Chris and I will hopefully be doing some more reviews as well, including Oscar predictions. But like, subscribe, do all that stuff down there, and catch you guys next time. Thanks.